Coach Pryor here at the Coach's Classroom. We're moving right on to mechanics of hitting. Got a lot to talk about. We're going to break it down, go through each part. We try to keep it as simple as possible. We talk about the set, separation, and then the actual swing, 2 parts of the swing with a contact point and the follow through. All right. So just looking here, we got a few different hitters here. We're talking about contact point. We're talking about the stance. We've got Hank Aaron here. We've got Jeter, Rose. All right, kind of separating there. Back in the day, good contact point, power L here, strong front side. But we'll get more into this. Harper loading up. Okay. Just giving you a couple examples here with the mechanics. Now, mechanics, we try to keep the movement patterns as simple as possible. We do a lot of drills. We do a lot of back chaining, working with the kind of the end in mind from contact point backwards, especially with the younger kids. A lot of the outside the box types of drills, just to kind of break down, but also try to give them movement patterns. Now, when you're teaching mechanics, there's 2 schools of thought. There's traditional way of coaching where you get a kid in a position and they kind of practice that position and they kind of move and yada, yada, yada. And then you have the school of thought where, hey, I just want to get swings and I want them just to move and make contact. Good hand-eye coordination, make contact. As long as they're making contact, they'll start to feel their body and it'll just all kind of happen. Well, I'm kind of somewhere in the middle of those 2 schools of thought. With the younger kids, I like to put them in body positions. I like to work different things off the tee, have them feel different things happening with their body. I do things with their eyes closed so they can feel their body, feel what's happening. So I kind of do the position thing a little bit. And then on older kids, I do a little bit more with, more like the movement patterns and run drills that are going to create good movement patterns. And you can blend those. That's kind of the third part to it, is actually blend what's going on with the drills. You can do some stationary stuff, static, position type stuff, do some blending stuff, but then always coming back and running your drills and going back to your 10-5 concept with your drills. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. And let's just take a look real quick at some of the tips. And we're going to talk in detail about all these tips, but you can just kind of read along, have a stance that works for you. With my older kids, I'm not worried too much about their stance. There's a couple critical points I personally like them to have in place with their stance, but really at the end of the day, if they're comfortable and they're relaxed, as long as when they get separated and they get ready to go, that they're in the right position to go to the ball. A lot of times guys will start with a poor stance and they never get to a good separation point or a load position, and that's then a problem. So we kind of got to play around with it a little bit. With the younger guys, I just like them to have stance 101, the basics, and do that really well. And as they get older and they understand some concepts, then okay, they can kind of start to make that their own. Be soft with the stride foot, land and stride on time. That's at the release point, and with the pitcher, we're going to talk about timing and landing and getting separated on time so that you can see the ball big and see it long. Have good timing and adapt to your pitching. Separate the hands from the stride, separate the stride from the swing, stay tall, away from the ball. Keep the feet apart and grounded until contact. See the ball at contact. Let the ball get deep. Keep in a strong position to hit. Avoid wasted movements and begin at the beginning of the swing. This is the biggest one. Avoid wasted movements. I can't tell you, with all the players we work with, there's so much movement that happens on this back side. It's one of the most common mistakes of all the things that players do back here before the ball is actually, before they go to hit the ball. They're wasting a lot of time right here. So we're going to talk a little bit about that when we get to the swing, and go in greater detail about your reaction time to get to the ball. Very important here that we minimize our movements and that we're able to maximize our speed and the amount of time it takes to get to the ball by increasing our speed and our bat speed and exit speed. Create torque. Start the swing with maximum power. Coordinate the hands with the back foot. Drive through the ball and rotate on one axis and get to power L and power V when going through the ball and finishing your swing. So these are just a few highlighted mechanic tips. You're going to see that we actually go in greater detail on these tips as we start to go through the process of the hitting with the set, separation, and the actual swing we'll come back to these in greater detail. Again, Coach Pryor with Coach's Classroom.